Hey guys, sorry, some technical difficulties, but here we are, the last of our lives for Beyond Bold. And today we have a very special guest, Dr. Lauren. And Vaishali, who's the host of Beyond Bold, and me will talk to Dr. Lauren about a lot of host of issues and keep some for the actual event. So without further ado, let me get her on.
Hi,
Hi, Lauren. So we are live. We can hear you
great.
perfectly.
So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, we
We're
can
we're
hear you
honored.
perfectly.
We're honored. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
All right, so now that all our technical difficulties are resolved, so let's begin. So, Lauren, Dr. Lauren, you are on the panel for health and women's health and menopausal and perimenopausal. So, you are along with two more people, and I will be the panel moderator. So, I want Vaishali to begin, and then I have a couple of questions for you that actually some of the people that I know have actually asked for you. So, we will
Okay,
go with that.
great.
So, hi everyone, and Lauren, thank you for joining us at Beyond Bold this year. It's our inaugural year, and it is a very special time. I know that we'll move on to other things, but I think it's like having your first baby. You know, you never forget it. So, we're thrilled to have you, and Namrata, thanks for moderating these every week. You've been amazing. So, Beyond Bold was really, honestly, it came about because a lot of the clients that I work with at Aura Human were falling in this demographic of women as early as 35 who were starting to feel this effect of something's changing in me, I'm changing, I don't really know what it is. And by the time they got to like 40, 42, you would start seeing a lot of this come into our conversations. Myself now, not at the time not there, but now definitely feeling like I'm getting there and I'm starting to not feel myself, started to really lean into this. What is this thing that we're going through? And I'm very, very pleased that we've been able to put together with this mighty team in Tampa and myself in Toronto and a little team over there that Toronto and Tampa together have created this beautiful thing that's going to happen this Sunday. It's finally happening. I went to the Nova for the first time today, and it is going to be, once I'd seen the place, I could totally picture how beautiful this day was going to be on Sunday. So we've got everything working for us. Namrata, I am extremely excited now that I've seen the place. Even everything from the welcome to the mindfulness sessions, to the dance sessions, to the beautiful food that we have, to the beautiful speeches and the experts that we've got. It just feels like a dream, the whole thing playing out. So just want to say I'm extremely excited and very grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm just so grateful that I get to be a part of it. I think this is such an important thing that we're doing for women. This is definitely a difficult transition for a lot of reasons. And, I'm just happy that I can be a part of the education. So.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Dr. Lauren, I have a question for you, and one of the couple of questions is, what are you seeing in this age group of women, in terms of hormones going up and down? What are you seeing? Um, what is being sort of prescribed to them at a very high level? And what are some of the things that you're seeing in terms of energy and other alternative things that are working for women? What do those conversations sound like?
So I'll preface this by saying that menopause looks different for everyone. So there is not one clinical picture that's going to encompass what a woman will experience, because some women will actually breeze right through the process and feel great the whole time. So it is not a given that you're going to have a difficult menopause. That said, how someone may experience menopause could be just simply, I've noticed some menstrual changes, to I have every symptom in the book. So, just to run through some of the highlights of that, we all think of hot flashes, night sweats, but it's the low energy, it's the body fatigue, it's the aches, it's the waking in the middle of the night wide awake. It's the increase in anxiety, the irritability, the anger, the ups, the downs, the brain fog. It's the experiences can be, sometimes unique. Like people will go see many, many doctors trying to find out what's wrong with them, only to discover that that's just how their perimenopause is presenting with, ringing in their ears or itchy ears, or, sometimes musculoskeletal issues, heart palpitations.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of different clinical experiences, because we have estrogen and progesterone receptors throughout our entire body. And we go from having very predictable cycles where our hormones go up and down in a very predictable way, to a period of just kind of erratic ups and downs, and then a period where we have essentially no production of those hormones in our ovaries. And so, that transition can be challenging for a lot of reasons.
So I think one of my questions is, when you transition over and once your menopause over, does it get better? Like, do we get superpowers? Like,
In some ways, yes, we get superpowers, right? Because we're wiser for getting through it. But yes, the good news is this is exactly that, a transition, right? So a lot of the experiences that women go through resolve because our body adapts, right? So it's actually really interesting. They've done brain MRI studies looking at the changes in the woman's brain during perimenopause and then postmenopause. And what happens is we see actual differences in cognition in the MRI studies that then improve. And the reason we understand that happens is because our brain upregulates estrogen receptors in order to overcome the loss of estrogen that our body's making. So our estrogen is so important for our brain that we start making new receptors so that we can, and so the brain fog that people experience actually does get better. And I know a lot of women who are really worried, like, I have a family history of dementia. Do I need to be worried? Because some of those symptoms can be really concerning. Like you feel like you're losing your mind. But the good news with brain fog, with hot flashes, with a lot of those symptoms, is they get better.
So I love the idea that I might be growing new receptors.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
You know what else was interesting is when you mentioned the ringing of the ears. That's a symptom I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of interesting ones
Wow.
that, and it's so cool because hormone, when it is a hormonal deficiency, hormone therapy can just fix it. So people were like, wow, I thought, they've been to rheumatologists, they've been to all these doctors, and then we start a little hormone therapy. And, not always, but, a lot of times if it's perimenopausal related, things get better.
well, on the hormone therapy, what is bioidentical? I've been seeing that in social media. So social media, you know how algorithms work. Once you start looking for something, the whole thing floods.
The algorithms have me.
I am being flooded by like GLP-1 and bioidentical HRT. Like I'm flooded, and I'm like, I don't understand any of those things. Like, what does it mean?
So bioidentical, I think, has become a marketing term, but there is a distinction clinically. So when it comes to giving hormone therapy, if we give a hormone that's immediately like the chemical structure that our ovaries will make, so estradiol is our most common example of that, and then for progesterone, what we call prometrium or micronized progesterone, those are biologically identical to the hormones produced by the ovaries. So those are bioidentical hormones. Sometimes people think bioidentical has to be like extracted from yams or, from some kind of plant source. Well, that does exist. That is only one of the examples of bioidentical, because we do have FDA approved regimens that are bioidentical. Things that are not bioidentical do not naturally mean bad. There's lots of different what we call progestogens, which are like synthetic progesterones. And depending on how someone's perimenopause experience may be, sometimes those forms are better for a woman. For example, birth control. That's not bioidentical, but it's not bad. We use birth control for a lot of reasons, and they can be really beneficial. But that would not be a bioidentical example of hormone therapy.
Yep.
So. I'm a good example of someone who's standing in this place, and there's like 3 ways to look, right? Well, 4. There's like do nothing and just survive through this. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is try bioidentical. Number 3 is take the pills that were given to me by my doctor, which is the estrogen and the progesterone mix that was like 2 sets of pills. And then there's the fourth way that, you know, someone said that they've been doing for years is Chinese medicine. And I'm sitting here looking at all these 4 ways, knowing nothing about any of 3 of them at least. And I'm
Yeah.
going, I'm just going to do nothing because I don't know what's up or down. You know?
Yeah. And I think that's where you need to find somebody who can really help you navigate it. Because if you're trying to gather what information you can from social media, you're going to get so much information and you won't know what's good information and what's not. And so this is a time when you really do need to lean on people who have experience and can guide you.
Right.
So.
And it's the professionals in each of those spaces that will tell you, well, yeah, the Chinese medicine route or the naturopathic route is the way. And then there'll be those that will tell you, well, you know, this is the traditional medicine way. You take these 2 sets of pills, it balances you out, you'll start. And then there's the other bioidentical. And it's, I think each way I've gone, I've received, this is the best way to do it. And so then I struggle with that. I'm stuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's a choice you ultimately have to make for yourself.
I mean,
with
I don't
all
think
that information.
I don't think that you could say that there's only an option for like a combined pill versus bioidentical. We have lots of different tools in our toolbox, and not even like you don't have to do hormone therapy. There are other ways that we can support women during this time. You know, that's not necessarily a prescription. So, yeah. So I think I agree with you that there's conflicting information and it's hard to know who to turn to and you know who you can trust. You know, from my world, I really lean on our Menopause Society. So I don't know if you're familiar, but they are.
I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah,
can you tell us a bit more about that?
So the Menopause Society is made up of menopause experts who are focused on providing really evidence-based guidelines. So they put out, position statements, you know, to just go through the evidence and give you like a reliable source of information. And they certify their providers. So if you are a menopause certified practitioner, and it doesn't have to be a doctor, but you know, a gynecologist can be that, a family doctor can be that. But if you go through the education and you pass the tests to be certified, then you know that this is a doctor or a provider who's a good knowledge base and comes from an evidence-based standpoint when treating menopause women, which I think is so important.
So about the information, right? So I know that probably we are the first generation of women who have so much knowledge at our fingertips. And even then it's still less because I think we only have evidence-based information for only so many years because there was nothing like our medical community and, you know, other things we didn't have. So do you think it's just getting better every day? The experience of finding more information and all of those things, is it getting better, or
I
do you think there's more needed?
I think that thankfully now there is quite a spotlight on menopause. And we are continuing to study women more and more. You know, you probably heard the stories about the big WHI study and the more recent lifting of the black box warning on estrogen. I don't know if you're familiar with that yet, or
I did read. It did come across one of my social media.
So we have this study that came out back in 2002, known as the Women's Health Initiative, and it's really changed prescribing patterns because there was some worrisome findings about risk for blood clots, heart attacks, strokes in estrogen users. But they were using, I'm sorry, my cough, oral Premarin, which is actually derived from horse urine, and it is not the same type of estrogen that we make. and that we use now. And they were also using it in the form of a pill, which changes the way that the body processes it. And so, for a long time, we had a lot of fear about prescribing hormones because of the findings from the WHI. And then there was also the concerns about breast cancer. But we now have looked back and continued to follow these women that were in the WHI study. And we've done, lots of observational and other, randomized control trials looking at the hormones that we use now. And what we're finding is that the route, so how you take your hormones matters, and the type of hormones matter. And so we now have formulations that are a lot safer. And so thankfully now the FDA has taken the black box warning off all estrogen products, because it just simply is scaring women.
Research,
They go and they get their prescription for vaginal estrogen, and then they see, this black box warning saying it's going to cause cancer, and that's just simply not true. So, I think not to say that we should be handing it out like prenatal vitamins, but, there's definitely a place and a time when these hormones can be used very safely. And we're not, scaring women with these, these warnings. So
I think many women are thinking about that. Just the last question, and this is me and Vaishali have talked about, and Vaishali, you can maybe put this question better, but it is about more and more midlife women are being diagnosed with neurodivergence. And many people are relating the neurodivergence and the menopause sort of a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Some people are saying it's because of menopause, or it's because of perimenopause, or some people are saying it's because of the hormonal fluctuations and life situations that it is coming.
Right.
Vaishali, I know you wanted to bring this up definitely.
I did.
So what is your question there?
Yeah. So Lauren, my line of work, I've worked 30 years in corporate, and I've led large changes in large organizations, and in leading people. I also have 20 years of somatic practice behind me. So it's like these two worlds that I brought together into Aura Human. And my observation with women in this age group became my clients at 35 to 55, I started to see people who come into the program that I work on are people who are really struggling with stress, burnout, anxiety. And that's an epidemic that we are all living through, whether you're in menopause or not. We see men and women going through this right now. We have the highest levels of burnout that we can speak of these days. And at the same time, you had this particular demographic of women coming in saying it's not only that stuff that all of us are going through, but then they're going through this added layer, shall we say, of having to, it's like the collision of traditional stress, work stress, and lack of capacity, and then them coming into this phase of their life. And I began to read about it, and they were saying like this 57 million American women this year going through menopause, 1 billion on the earth going through it this year, which was staggering numbers. And then when you look at the burnout numbers, they're over 50% amidst the same demographic. So I think the line of question that Namrata has just raised is it feels like women are experiencing, it's not like we didn't have menopause centuries ago, but I think women today are experiencing such a exaggerated level, shall we say, such a magnified level, because it's this time after COVID where we're still trying to sort of figure out how the heck we step back and slow down and still find energy to do the things we love. And it seems to be more and more of an impossible task.
Are you seeing that too? Is that
Yeah.
what is coming up as well?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you're definitely right. I mean, it's all compounding, right? So, all of the factors that you've mentioned, all of the challenges that women are going through during this time, and then you add to it the fact that they're not sleeping and their brain's not functioning the way they're used to, and their body doesn't feel the same, and they don't have the energy that they want to tackle these challenges. I mean, there's no question that it does amplify the experience even further. So,
Yeah. And I think the question there was, I know I rambled for a bit, was just that in your practice, are you finding that this is more compounded now with the patients that you see than you used to see? Because I'm hearing from the outside that this feels much worse than what my mom went through. You know?
Well, I don't know if it's actually worse or if it's just we're finally talking, you know?
Could be.
Because for so long, women were just silenced, like, oh, this
Not
is
silent. My
Going
mom was
through it.
irritated.
yeah, this is just being, you're just being, hormonal. And, it was just brushed off and nobody really like stopped and listened to us and said, you're right, this is terrible. We can help you, So I don't know if it's worse now than it ever was, maybe, or maybe it's just we're finally talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. We're definitely talking about burnout more. We're definitely talking about, managing energy more, just managing the neurodivergence has come up quite a bit. And I think it's like I said, it's just a perfect storm. And I think because we are so, um, I would say, advanced from the previous generations, we are able to build communities around it and talk more about it.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. I was reading recent stats for this year, Lauren, and it was like these are the reasons why this just felt really important. They said 70% of the women that are undergoing this right now are reporting mental health to be their number one symptom. So that was a big number, 70%. There was another number that said less than 24% of them actually know what it is that they're going through. The rest of them have no clue at all, right? And then there is this. There was another staggering number that said 70%. That was a crazy number. Another 70% saying that 70% of marriages of women going through this happen because they're going through this phase, the breakups. And I was thinking, wow, like, and that was one report. It's a notable report. I will figure out the name of that. And so I just read. It was an extensive report that just talked about what it means for women who are going through this year, and why it feels louder and more painful.
Yeah, I think it's everything colliding, right? It's the societal and everything. So I think so, Dr. Lauren, that's exactly what I think me and Vaishali and Payal wanted to bring together. That this is the perfect. We just thought that this is the perfect time for this event, this conversation to
Yeah.
happen and have an event just around this, have a community just around this. And I think you are a brilliant addition to this because we get that, okay, medical communities listening. They are doing something. They are going and doing the research. They're going and removing the black box warnings. So that communication, I think that's so we don't really talk about it. So now I think when we talk about it in the open, it's important for women to know that these are the questions you can go and ask and get the answers to.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm very excited. Very excited.
Thank you, Dr. Lauren and Vaishali. I don't want to. I have more questions. Believe me, believe it or
We
not.
should save them for the day. Uh,
Absolutely, and I
one
want
of
to
the
have
things
those answers in the day.
I've been saying to Namrata is that, and we're giving this kind of guidance to our speakers as well, is these ladies would really do well to take away one or two things that they can go home and either apply or feel like this, I learned something about something that I go through every day. One way that I can kind of work around it. So we really want to make sure that they get some applicable lessons that really feel relevant to them. And I've asked Namrata to sort of make sure that the questions we ask, like today was a really nice sort of philosophical conversation around the subject, but the day we're in the room with them, we really want them to say, hey, you know what, I lived through this one particular thing. Every single morning when I wake up, it feels like this. And we would like to hear you and Dr. Millie and even Brandy
Yeah.
speak about what is that one thing you could do to deal with that one thing in the morning,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So that would, then they would be like, yeah, okay, I learned something I could go and try.
Yeah.
So,
So,
but
Dr. Lauren, thank you so much for joining today. I actually learned a few things. So, thank you so much. I mean, I
Of course.
cannot wait for having that conversation this Sunday.
yeah,
Yay. I
coming
can't wait
up.
to. I'm excited.
Mm.
Yes.
Ev-
Thank you.
Thanks for
All
having me,
right. And thank you
Namrata.
guys so much for everything you've done to make this happen.
Thank you. We'll see you on Sunday.
See you
Okay.
on Sunday.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.